Hello, 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 hello. Well, I don't got I don't got any different news than than anybody else here. But what the heck? TJ Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings. In some ways I can see what they were thinking in some ways. And you gotta kind of wonder if TJ kind of wanted out of here too. I mean, it's you just don't just make that move. You just don't make that move without thinking. Um, Now, I can say this year and also throughout TJ Hawkinson's career, it's been up and down. I mean, people still, yeah, he's had a few great games in the last couple weeks. All right, last few weeks, but we got to remember his first two games he didn't do anything. His first two games, we were wondering where he was. So it's he's that been that kind of player. Yeah, right. Yeah, wait. Let me get settled. Start over. Okay, Granger. Okay. First of all, what the heck is going on? Okay. How are you doing, Gren? Tiger 12. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think we would have lost him anyway, but uh, to Minnesota, a divisional rival, and for only a third round pick and a fourth round, or no, a second round pick this year, a third round pick next year. You know, what the hell's going on? I mean, I think in a way they got a better part of this deal. Now, of course, they're going to need to pay him. They got to redo his contract, and this was what his fourth year. So I don't know. Yeah, does this move bring out the maniac? Yeah, it's very confusing. It is very confusing on how come it went to Minnesota. But hey, it also goes to show, uh, this was supposed to be a make or break year for him, and he started out slow. So he started out very slow. Um, yeah, give me 40 minutes to get settled. Just kidding. I'm good now. All right, all right. Yeah, I think what they did partly was got something out of him while I could, because once he entered that free agent market, we couldn't trade him either, and it would have been would we and we would have had to overpay for him, even though he was our player. So if we're actually truly rebuilding and tearing down, this is a little bit of a more of a tear down, but it's a shocking tear down. I mean, it's been rumored. It's been rumored that he was going to be gone, but you hear those rumblings. Well, I once heard that every time with every rumor, there's always a kernel of truth. But this kernel, oh my God, this kernel was more than a kernel. It was a whole ball of wax truth. It was a whole steamrolling diesel truck. All right. Kurt said that he didn't take part. He didn't take part of the division rival to the division rivals. Yeah, that's true. All right. There that division rival. What is with the Lions trading with the Vikings? They did it in the draft, true. Now free agency. Now was this kind of like a little bit of payback because they, kind of had a little bit of, okay, I'll give you this, and I'll let you get this guy that you want, this receiver you want, and kind of like a handshake agreement that you got to take care of me later on. When if you detract, maybe they gave a marker to the Vikings in order to get them to do that trade with Williams in the draft because I mean that's one way of looking looking at it. Is there a Brad Holmes connection to someone in the Viking front office? Very well could be. Very well could be because it's. I mean, we had that, and who does it benefit more with that connection? Because one thing we had with the connection between Patricia and the Patriots, Quinn and the Patriots, it was more went in the favor of the Patriots in any trade, any move we made with Quinn and the Patriots. So hey, anybody else who's out there watching, I see I got three people watching me. That's great. Oh, four people. Yeah, put in your comments what you think. I'm I'm just really, really, really wondering what's going on here. All right. Hey, Jeremy. How's it going? How's it going, buddy? Uh, sorry, I meant Kurt. He said he didn't like the part of trading within the division rivals. Yeah, that's true. Did the Vikings feel sorry for having better draft than the Lions just didn't get that Jameson Williams pick? I know the benefit of rebuilding. This is Jeremy B. The benefit of rebuilding of the Lions more in the long term run. They took they took on Hawk salary. Yeah, that's true. That is true. They did take on Hawk salary. So that's one thing for sure. So it does give us more cap room. And then they're the ones that's going to need to sign him for long term. But we also got to play him. And hey, is this going to be 2 losses a year that we get because of training with the Vikings? That's one thing we got to look at too. Or was it that he was expendable because if Williams ever does take the field, how much was Hawkinson really needed? Was he? I mean, I know he was definitely the best tight end that we had. Okay, but we got receivers that can do what he did too. So we got to look at that. All right. And thank you. The Brad Holmes connection, conspiracy theory, everyone put on their tin foil hats. Yeah, we got to go ahead. Upwards antennas, and yeah, who knows. But my God, what the heck? We're looking at it. We're seeing what's going on. I don't know. Is it better for long term, or is this going to mean? I mean, one thing would have been better to go ahead for us to just lose him in free agency and not get anything out of him. That's or go ahead and pay him a lot because we also got to remember 2 years he's injured a lot. So he did have the injury bug, and one thing that was said, save, don't get injured, don't be doing so much in the first part of the season because we need you for the latter half of the season. Well, now we ain't gonna have him at all. 25 people watch late night Lions talk. We growled very loud. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, sometimes you gotta wonder, and I mean, you just gotta wonder what this is going to do. I mean, you really don't know how good the trade is until you see what people you drafted in that place. I know one thing, Michael Mike, I didn't get to see a lot of stuff because I just got out of work and stuff, so I didn't get to do a lot of research on this topic. But from I seen a little bit of what Michael Mike was saying and stuff like that. Uh, and it was also expected. At first, they were wondering, well, what? At first, they didn't like it, but then the trade, that salary is a big deal. That salary is definitely a big deal, and you know, we have, we have just before we have just caught people when they worked out or didn't work out and stuff like that. I'm not saying TJ was a bust. Believe me, I'm not. I mean, he came on after a while. But his first two games, he wasn't there. All right. Okay, Jeremy B. It's clear 13. It clears 13 million this season and 10 million next season. Now that the Lions will have 30 million next year. Yeah, that's true. But does this also signify that the Lions have given up on this year? How? I mean, if you look at it, okay, in a win-loss perspective, and especially this season, okay, how much does this hurt the Lions the rest of the season? Not that the Lions were going anywhere this year, all right. And how many games? I mean, basically, how many games is this trade going to cost us? I absolutely see no way we're going to beat Minnesota this year unless Jameson Williams comes up and really balls out, but we haven't even seen him on the field yet. So, when will he actually be there? You know, that's what I'm wondering. But yeah, cap money it gives us cap money, but how is it more help or does it hurt us more? But I started to just say, and as far as in listening to what Michael Mike was saying, and I'm sure other people heard this too, where Michael Mike had said that he really thinks the Lions are going to put that second round pick together with something else and get another first round pick somewhere. So we'll have 3 first round picks in this draft instead of just 2. But I don't, like I said, I wasn't able to see much because I was at work and I caught the tail end of it, of what he was saying at the end of my break at work. So, and of course, I had not to make excuses, but I had a long day today. It wasn't basically work. It was just I had a real early dentist appointment. I didn't get to bed that early last night, and so it was just something. It was quite a day for me. So I wish I could have studied this more, but hey, we're not really going to know how good the trade is until we actually get the trade. I mean, yeah, the cap room, that's great. Okay. We've been so cap strapped, but how's this 13? There's a $13 million this year. Are they going to be able to buy more? Is it going to buy more value this year than what value they lost by giving TJ off? Giving TJ up. Yeah, I heard that too, Tim. Well, Michael Mike said, but why move up? Lions need picks to fill holes. Exactly. Not use picks, only fill a couple. Oh, yeah, that's true. But then again, we gave up picks. I think we gave up I mean, TJ Hawkinson was a first round draft pick, and then like wasn't his he was 8 overall draft pick. So, but yeah, they definitely need the picks. Yes, I am tired. I am tired. I'm tired, and then I'm also got some pain in my back for some reason. But uh I will survive. It ain't that I hurt myself or it's just it's. But I just, I gotta see. We're not gonna see how much if we're really a winner or loser in this until we see who we pick. If we end up getting something for this, if we pick some quality players, and once again, hey, anybody watching this show, I want to thank you. I appreciate you coming in, taking time off, adding your comments, and just going and watching my show. Make sure you guys hit that like button. I do appreciate it. Share it. Tell your friends about it. Like, subscribe, comment in the section. There's, of course, 3 main places you can view Maniac Sports, and that's, of course, Tim's Maniac Sports on my YouTube channel. You can also view it on Facebook, on Maniac Sports Facebook, and you can also view it via Twitch, Maniac Sports. Okay. Timothy Becker send me a link to join. I will definitely. Okay, invite. Copy. All right, here we go. Okay. Control V. All right. Okay, link sent. Okay, I just sent it out. Pretty soon we'll be getting Jeremy on here. Okay, but hey, yeah, once again, like, subscribe to this channel. Tight ends are tough position. Okay, tight ends are a tough position to draft. You want one who does it all, but you add one when you got the O line, the D line, secondary, yeah. Linebackers get a tight end the same time you get a stud quarterback. True. Did you get the link all right, Jeremy? Stud wide receiver, playmakers that always command a lot of money. Exactly. Stud wide receivers. Hey, Jeremy. Okay, we will add you right now.
Hello there, Tim.
Hey, how's it going? I gotta get my. All right, and I'll get you up on here too. How's it going, Jeremy?
Good. I just got my camera off because I've been traveling again, but that's another story. From what I read on NFL Network, this trade cleared $13 million for this year in cap alone. Okay. It also clears another $10 million next year, which means Brad Holmes waved his magic talisman in front of the Vikings GM, gave him a 4th-round pick this year to get a 2nd-round pick this year, and a conditional 4th next year, which will move back. Hockenson does.
Okay.
And a 3rd-round pick for the 2024 draft in Detroit, which, if I remember right, we get the compensatory picks from Golladay and Marvin Jones this season, correct?
Yeah.
It was a 3rd-round pick and a 7th-round pick, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we're going to have a minimum of 6 picks in the top 100 again this year.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that definitely could help. Yeah. When you're
Right.
trying to build it. Yeah.
And the extra cap, that means we have approximately almost 30 million next year before the salary cap goes up.
Okay. Wow.
So as far as I'm concerned, I don't agree with NFL.com. When I read the article, it said it kind of was a C+ grade for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what I read about the salary cap implications, I'm giving the edge to the Lions. I think it's like a B grade. It's not a B+, it's not an A or anything like that. But the reason we traded Hockenson is when Quinn drafted him, it was because he was slated to be an extra tackle in the run game. And as we have seen over the past 3 or 4 years now, he's not.
Right. Right, exactly. So there was some disappointment. Yeah.
Right. That, and plus he has 80% of his production in 2 games. He went out early in the Washington game, I believe, which we won that game without him.
Right.
Because Brock Wright caught that touchdown in the first half, not Hockenson.
Right. Exactly.
So are we really going to miss him? Because Brock Wright is the better run blocker. True. James Mitchell is starting to come on. I saw him do a couple of good plays last week. I wish we'd have used him more as a fullback instead of a halfback.
Right. So we'll get to see more. We'll get to see more as the season goes on, for sure.
Exactly. Because the verdict's still out on how good James Mitchell can be or not.
Right.
And like I said, I left it as a C+ for Minnesota because it did fill a need with Irv Smith having an ankle injury. Right. They needed a tight end. But with us giving up 2 4th-round picks and getting back a 2nd and a 3rd,
right,
that's what made it a good trade to me.
Okay.
I mean, granted, that's whether or not Brad Holmes does it. But Brad Holmes said in the offseason that next season was the year he planned on the Lions being competitive.
Okay.
And I think this is why. Because he knew that there wasn't depth of talent. All we had was talent in the starting room. And a lot of that has been injured off and on. So with that being said, he didn't expect it to happen this year. He expected it next year. And now this is a move to help that happen.
Okay.
Now, what they do with that $13 million, the thing that surprises me most is that we traded in the division. And then we didn't piggyback the trade because we could have cleared more cap and got somebody and had enough money to sign him to a lucrative deal. We could have had a healthier version of DeAndre Swift by packaging him with that extra 3rd in 2024 for Kareem Hunt, who is virtually the same type of back and healthier.
Okay. Wow.
That's what I would have liked to have seen done immediately. If we'd approached them with that and they could have said, well, we get a 2024 3rd-round pick instead of a 4th-round pick in 2023, let's do it.
Yeah. That's so I guess what we got to do
that would also probably keep Swift healthier because they have a featured back in Nick Chubb. He'd be used in the same fashion in passing plays and on 3rd down situations when it's in that mid-range. That way they're not getting Chubb beat up on third downs.
Right. So, yeah, it's like, why didn't they do it? Because
does that trade not make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I guess.
Because Kareem Hunt's only 28 years old.
Yeah.
So he's not old.
Right. I mean, yeah, it definitely.
I'm curious to see if they take that cap space they made this year and sign some free agents that's still available. One in particular, because he'd be better than Anzalone, Board, and Barnes combined. Blake Martinez.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll get to see if they do.
But if they keep it to roll it over, now think about this. What if they keep it to roll over? So we got almost 30 million. Then you roll over. They take out the 4 million that they put aside with the new cap for injuries. They roll over another 5 to 8 million.
Wow.
To next season.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. True.
Then you're talking about over 40 million before the cap goes up, which means they could have 60 million just by making one trade.
Right. Exactly.
Well, Vikings are winning right now, Grandizer. I see you said Vikings could not count on Irv Smith. He is often injured, as he is again this year. He injured his ankle. And he hasn't been much of a red zone threat for Minnesota, and he also doesn't block well. So I think Brad Holmes waved his magic talisman in front of the Vikings GM and said, "You will take this entire salary."
Right.
Because it seems like he has their number in trades, does it not?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it definitely does.
I mean, on paper, this trade looks like the Lions won hands down to me.
Yep. Yeah, and as long as this goes as you say, you know what I mean? As long as they don't go ahead and get, as long as when they, whoever
and
they
Grandizer, if I remember right, Grandizer is a Seahawks fan, and kudos to his Seahawks for leading the NFC West. Now, here's something crazy. The AFC East has not one team with a losing record, right?
Right.
The NFC East has not one team with a losing record. Yet, the Falcons are leading the NFC South, and not a single team in that division has a winning record.
Well, that's kind of flipped, because remember when the AFC East was like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that's
where the only in the AFC East, the only team that had a winning record for a long time was either the Bills or the Dolphins.
Yeah, and
nobody else ever was at the top.
Yeah, and actually, Grandizer is a Dolphins fan.
Oh, he's a Dolphins fan.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep.
But if I remember right, he lives in Seattle.
Right. Yeah.
Is that not true, Grandizer? Don't you live out west in Seattle or near Seattle? And that's where I got that from.
Okay, yeah, but I didn't know, because he's on here a lot, so I didn't know that he was a Dolphin fan and stuff. So
yeah, he's followed you. He's followed me. Because he used to follow We Are Lions Nation, who's been absent this season in podcasting.
I know. They don't really. They don't exist anymore. Basically, like you say, they're absent.
Oh, they exist.
Wow.
It's just I don't think Andrew handles the losing very well.
Right.
And he can't handle talking about them when they're losing anymore. I mean, we have suffered through so many years.
Yeah.
The way Jeremy explained it, Kurt and Micro Mike need to hear that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because
I just read what they said on NFL.com and did some research myself, and Over the Cap has already adjusted next year's salary cap.
Okay.
And it said 30 million available.
And if we actually look at it, that's what we have been in, is cap hell for the last 2 seasons.
Right, and as much as I hate to say it, that leaves leeway where they could possibly either restructure Goff because we haven't had the results, get him at a cheaper salary, extend him out that 6 years with 2 years voidable at the end of the contract, like I was talking about, which takes him right through his prime.
Yeah.
And then that takes the whole drafting a quarterback.
Right.
Yep, I did live in Washington, but that was last year when Jeremy was with that group. So I did remember it correctly.
Yeah, you did.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
See, my memory's not totally gone. I remember stuff other than football.
Right. I mean, the team names may be changed with the city names.
And I am sick of the SOL fans, the same old Lions fans that say sell the team.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see where that would really help.
I don't see where it would help too, because more than likely, because the contract is coming up on Ford Field, and if they sold the team, it'd be real easy for another team or another owner to buy out the rest of that contract and move them.
Right.
I don't want to see our Lions in another city under another name.
Yeah, I know. And actually, that was one of the reasons that's one of the things that I said in one of my shows before, that if the Lions ever did move the team, that was when I would quit being a Lions fan.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it's I would have to choose an AFC team.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And everybody says, "Well, why did you do that?" I said, "Well, I damn sure am not picking one of the rivals that I've hated for years. I'm damn sure not going to bandwagon with the Cowboys."
Right. So, what do you think this trade does as far as with the upcoming Green Bay game? As far as without Hockenson being there.
Without Hockenson, that means we're going to see more of Brock Wright and the other tight end. What's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Not James Mitchell, the other one.
Okay.
But we should see more of James Mitchell at the actual tight end position too.
Okay, here's
I know because that means somebody's going to be activated from the practice squad, is what I'm thinking, to fill that TE3 spot.
Okay, you see where Grandizer had another question for us? Who else do you think the Lions should have moved?
I think we should have moved Swift. If we're going to go and totally rebuild this team and just accept the fact that we're losing right now, we should have moved Swift because he's oft injured.
Exactly.
He's electric when he's on the field, but he's not on the field much anymore.
Right. And really, these were, those two plays were the two players that these were supposed to be make or break years, was TJ Hockenson and, of course, DeAndre Swift. Was he going to be that elite running back? Could he stay healthy enough? And that was a big thing before this.
Because I don't think there's a single guy on defense you could have moved outside of maybe Jeff Okudah. But you're not going to take that dead cap hit, not when you're already doing this one.
Right. But who else would we have?
As far as I'm concerned, we cleared enough cap. We could cut Brockers.
Right. Okay. With the commissioner pushing for teams in Europe,
he'd love to try to move a few teams there. I think we're going to absolutely see the London Jaguars.
Okay.
When they make that move. Because the owner is from London.
All right.
He already tried to move him there once. And they're going to have to move 4 teams total when they do it. And the reason why is, no, Brock Wright is the one that's going to be our starter now. I know that for a fact. James Mitchell is one. I know we got one on the practice squad that hasn't been called up yet.
Right.
It's not Derek Deese because he ended up being medically waived. It was somebody else. Who was it? I'm on my phone, so I can't just look up the stuff or it knocks me out of the show.
Right. Okay. Practice squad, Detroit Lions. Try to look. Okay.
Was it Isaac Nata?
Okay. Tight end Derek Deese.
Okay, Derek Deese is one, and Isaac Nata, right?
I don't see him on here.
Okay, so we must have got rid of him.
Yeah, right.
Or somebody signed him off the practice squad.
Right.
It is what it is. My thing is I'm at a 40-60 split on whether Hawk is even on the field in December for the Vikings because he's only missed, parts of games so far. He hasn't missed his customary 3 games of the season.
Okay.
Garrett Griffin, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'll either be Derek Deese or Garrett Griffin that gets moved up off the practice squad this week is what I'm thinking. And maybe even both of them.
Right.
If either one of them's Garrett Griffin, no, he retired, didn't he? He was the guy from the Saints that ended up retiring due to a medical thing.
Okay. So it won't be him.
Shane Zylstra, there it is.
Okay.
That's the guy I'm thinking of. He's on the active roster. He's been the tight end 3. So more than likely they'll activate Derek Deese to be the tight end 3. Zylstra will be the 2.
Okay.
Then we get to see what Deese has.
Right.
Because we haven't seen him active on the roster yet.
No.
Other than preseason.
Yeah. That's true. We'll get to see. Wow. Yeah. That'd be something they would have made a trade to get with adding DeAndre Swift with that too.
I said I don't know why they didn't try to package a deal because I heard Cleveland was trying to trade for a tight end too. We could have did a package deal, saved the same amount of money, probably got even further future picks because they really don't have anything in 2023.
Yeah,
but we could have got a 2024 and a 2025 draft pick.
Yeah, you mean
we could have got Swift and Hawk for Kareem Hunt, give up a 1/4 and get back a 2nd and a 3rd.
Right.
We could have did that too.
But you went on in Baker Mayfield?
Well, Baker Mayfield's not in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They trade him away. Shoot.
Yeah. It'll be Jacoby Brissett, who's actually looking decent with the way he tore apart the Bengals defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Baker Mayfield, he's in for the Colts now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, we'll get to see what this new look Lions is going to look like.
So I'm not going to raise my expectations at all. As a matter of fact, it's looking more like we're saying, okay, this is full on rebuild mode.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to stop competing because the Lions have been competing in most of the games, with the exception of the Dallas and the New England game.
Right.
Which, in the New England game, Hawkinson was almost invisible in that. He had 80% of his production in 2 games and missed at least a game worth of time between the other games he played.
Yeah. Right. And you look at last season, he was out quite a few games, and the first season, He's
In the
got
first,
quite a few.
this is his 4th season.
Yeah,
He has averaged 3 games a year he's missed.
right. And I do remember in an interview with him, before the season started, they said he needs to take it easy earlier in the year in order to be there for the crunch time. Well, we don't need to worry about that. We don't need to worry about that anymore because more.
And what about the move, that big move that they did with the Broncos? What Miami did, I think that kind of makes them a possible Super Bowl contender, getting Bradley Chubb.
See, I actually didn't see a lot today because I've been.
And here's the funniest one of the day.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley was traded to the Jaguars, which coincidentally was the team that he bet against that got him suspended for the year.
Oh my gosh.
He is now a Jacksonville Jaguar. That wide receiver room next year is going to be scary.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Laviska Shenault, but they got the other guy. Yeah. They got Christian Kirk. And now they're going to have Calvin Ridley next year.
Now will it be the London Jaguars instead of Jacksonville?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they'll start that next year. I think it'll be, I meant the London deal. Probably a couple years off, at least.
It would have to be because they got to have. Well, there is another team that might move now because more than likely there's an owner that won't have a team after all the congressional stuff comes out.
Oh, Washington?
Washington.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if any more stuff comes out about the Dolphins owner, there's another one.
Right. Okay.
Irony for Calvin Ridley, yes. Yeah. That's what I was getting at on that one.
Right. Wow.
I'm going to cover a lot of the trades tomorrow on my NFL Roundtable Talks. I'm going to be getting a few fans from other teams. I've already got 2 locked in, possibly 3.
Yeah.
I've got a 49ers fan locked in. I've got a Bengals fan locked in. I'm trying to get a Steelers fan, but they're not too happy with their team because they win against the Bucs and then lose against the other team.
Mm-hmm. But the Bucs
they're costing.
Yeah, the Bucs ain't what they were.
No, because they're missing their interior O-line. Without that interior O-line, they can't be effective. They're not running the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody else we possibly could have traded Swift to give them a 1-2 punch.
Right. Yeah.
And they have cap room and they have capital.
Right.
I just didn't like the trade in the division. Other than that, I like the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Hawkinson's healthy,
right,
I damn sure don't want Anzalone covering him.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that would be, Okay, which is crazy because the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross built his money on real estate.
Yeah, but if anything comes out of that Brian Flores case,
and
then plus with all the tampering he did,
right?
Wow.
Yeah. All right, and the Bucs are thin at running back, tight end, and wide receiver.
Well, they're actually quite deep at wide receiver. The problem is they can't keep all 3 of them on the field at the same time.
Right.
And kudos to Julio Jones for giving his first touchdown last week in 3 seasons.
Wow.
Because remember, 2 seasons ago, he missed a season, or 3 seasons ago, he missed a season for the Falcons due to injury. And then he was injured part of the year versus the Titans and wasn't an end zone threat at all. And then this year he gets one with the Bucs.
Right. So
I think that's more kudos to Tom Brady than it is to Julio Jones. But
and I think you're probably right where nobody Grand Driver's probably where he assume that no other team would give up a second rounder.
Right. I think that was the thing. And that,
Mm-hmm.
we technically moved up in that trade for both years, giving up fourth rounders, and the one's a conditional. It could end up being a fifth or a sixth. It's not going to move up past a fourth rounder.
Right. So, and that depends on how good they do in the playoffs, right?
No, no, not even the playoffs. Just if Hawk stays healthy throughout the year.
Okay. And so in other words, we gotta hope that he's healthy, except the game that they play us.
No, because if he's not healthy, guess what? It drops back.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. I think that Brian Flores case is over. It's the tampering that didn't take the league already.
That case does not even take place till next season. That it's not over.
Oh.
The one with Brian Flores.
All right.
No, I'm just saying, after the tampering, if it's found out that they were doing the tanking for Burrow,
right,
or Herbert. See, Flores wanted Herbert, not Tua.
Right.
That's why he didn't tank for Burrow.
Right. But what was weird? I mean, when when the Colts were, when they were basically tanking for Luck way back when Andrew Luck was there was nothing said there.
Do you know who the starter was then? Think about it for a second. They had two. Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
And Dan Orlovsky his last year.
You know my nickname for Dan Orlovsky?
Safety boy?
Shoot. Maybe I shouldn't say this on air. Dan Orlovsky.
That too.
Yeah.
But he won games. He actually won games for the Colts, and that's why he was sat for Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
Because they wanted Luck.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Brian Flores tried to prove racism against the Finns owner, but the Dolphins are ones that the most diverse teams in the league. True. Yeah, I do remember him saying that too.
Yeah, but it became a class action suit, if I remember right. There was other people that joined that suit, and it never went to court yet.
Right. Right. So
how you been, Tim?
Oh, I've been all right. I had a lot of dental work done. I had a very early dentist appointment, so I was running around most of the day. Then I didn't, but I've been good. How about you?
Good.
Good. All right. Yeah. See from my sources, Stephen Ross wanted Burrows. General Manager Chris Gaines wanted Tua. Flores wanted O.T. Andrews. Thomas, but when he was drafted before Miami, Flores wanted interior linebacker Isaiah Simmons. I wanted Simmons on the Lions. I remember that. Yeah. And instead we got a Kuda. What is crazy is that the GM Chris Gritter, okay, who is black, personally Joe Flores. Okay, yeah. Right. So I mean that's true. I mean that's 100% true. So it's like where you see about where do you see where is it proven that the racism was there with that? All right. My sources says Pinese, shoot. I do not have my glasses on. The
It
NFL.
says my sources were Finn side of the NFL. He spoke to Omar Kelly, beat writer for the Finns last year, along with other sources he would not name.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I do need to get my glasses. Right now, my glasses are in my car, so I ain't going out there. I need.
Well, I got mine on, so I got you covered, Tim.
Okay, that's good. That is good.
Because I just wrote my piece about the whole T.J. Hawkinson trade.
All right, yeah.
And submitted it to the paper and also to Sports Empire Network.
Okay, cool.
And again, I want to say it was great to be with you to meet Herman Moore.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I know. That was great, too. I mean, that was, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was real fun. I mean, talking about yeah. Talking about just find out the last minute, which is more my fault, and then just going down. I mean, that was great. When I seen that, I just had to go, I mean, that day it was my anniversary. It was like, so I'd went to a movie before worked, got home, and we had to stay late that night too, because on cleaning night we had to stay late. Got home, I seen it on Facebook that you had posted who was going up there and stuff like that, and then I, with one eye open, I answered your post. And I do not regret that one bit.
And our lunch was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was. Thank you for that. Where can we find Jeremy's articles? I'd like to pass it on the Roar of the UK. Of the Lions.
Grandizer, I am on South Florida Tribune. If you look at it, it's a paper out of Miami, but they own a subsidiary paper called the Motor City Tribune. So you go to the 3 dash marks on the website, and you pull up Motor City Tribune. There's an arrow down. You'll see me on the list of writers.
Yeah, I know Grandizer, he's really good at getting content creators and writers out there. I mean, we really, believe me.
Dan Leonard has actually joined, and he's a big part of my podcast now.
Yep. Isn't it starting to skyrocket now?
No, it's still holding steady around 170. I think it's due to the Lions aren't winning.
Yeah, exactly.
I lost 7 subscribers over the last 2 weeks, and I just gained one back today, so I'm at 171.
Yeah.
But for starting my podcast in January, I'm not upset with my growth.
Right, exactly. Now, are you ever going to do like pre-recorded shows and post them?
I personally don't like those. Yeah. I love the live. Grandizer says, thanks, Jeremy.
Yep.
Yeah, Scott Morganroth owns the South Florida Tribune, and he's originally from Detroit. He used to do the post-game shows with George Eichhorn on Channel 7.
Dan who?
Yeah, Dan Leonard. He is actually on Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. He's a regular guest. He's on almost every show unless he's sick.
Right.
We get along a lot better now.
Well,
We still have our little digs at each other every now and then, but
Yep.
now I know it's all in good fun.
Right. So he's wondering if is that via YouTube?
Yes, it's a kneecap biting with Smoking Jeremy B.
Mm-hmm.
I have my post-game show on Mondays. I have my NFL Roundtable Talk with weekly pick'ems on Wednesday. I do the Lions Man Cave chat on Fridays. And if I can, I do commentary in a Bob Euchre / Bob Meanery style, watching the football games.
Excuse me.
Austin Siebert in the first 3 weeks with the Lions was, am I allowed to cuss on here, Tim?
Yes.
Okay. Bob Meanery, every time there was a kicker that missed a field goal, he used to call him the shitbag titty fucker of the week.
Oh, boy.
Austin Siebert got it twice out of 3 weeks.
Oh, man. Okay.
Statman does come on occasionally when he can, but he's got some personal stuff going on. But he loves being on the show, and he watches the show and comments a lot, Grandizer.
Now I'll tell you your both your two guys that were on that Lions Nation podcast before, they both had even more hope in than I did. I mean,
every year the Lions were going to win 11 games.
Yep.
Every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to be a homer, but not when it's unrealistic.
Right.
I'm a homer. I said 7 to 10.
Yeah.
But I also said if we stay healthy.
Right. And that was one thing and that's always a big if, especially with the Lions. I mean, gosh. I mean, this injuries. But then, I mean, look at the Dolphins. Dolphins had more injuries than we did, but shoot, their wide receivers were. Oh.
Actually, their injuries were mostly backup players. When I was looking at them, we were injured more with starters in that game.
Yeah, but that's because we really don't have the depth.
Yeah. We don't have the depth. No, we don't have the depth to be competitive.
Yeah.
With starters out.
Right.
We're barely competitive with starters in.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, you just got a subscriber. Grandizer just subscribed.
Oh, thank you, Grandizer. And no, Tim and I get along really well. He's been on my podcast a couple times, so we help each other grow, which is the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we're both growing in new and budding podcasts. And I personally think all of the podcast community should be more like a brotherhood.
Right.
I am never going to bash a show. I am never going to talk ill of someone other than ones that have talked ill of me. And yes, I am on Lions Nation Unite. So yeah, I'm on there. I've joined. I have not been on their podcast yet, which that's something that I wanted to talk to Herman about, but never really got a chance to.
Yeah.
But
right, and that
Herman,
I know.
Herman is part of the reason why I was found as a published editor now, Grandizer. Because of him making all my little articles featured every week.
Wow.
And now that I'm published, they don't do it as often anymore. But hey, I got what I needed out of it.
So I don't know how come I can't change the layout on this thing.
It's because I'm not in yet. Let me turn on some lights. I gotta start the car though. Okay. I don't want to burn up my battery. So you'll hear a slight hum because my exhaust is somewhat loud.
Oh, there. Oh, okay. All right.
I personally like the third one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this one here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because then you still see your background, you still see your logo, and you get to see my shining face. I'm going to turn the big light behind me off because that kind of throws a glare, and turn the ones on in front like this.
Okay.
That's a little better. And I got my favorite Lions hat on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So anybody who is wondering, this is Jeremy B. Smoking Jeremy B.
That being said, I started changing. Remember, every week I was changing my win window because you have to, because we got to be realistic.
Yep.
Somebody said, "Are we supposed to expect 7 wins still?" I was like, I think we're going to be lucky to expect 5.
Right. I'll tell you what.
Yes, I do get along with Micro Mike very well. I have no issues with Micro Mike. Micro Mike was a guest on my podcast once. I will not speak ill of another podcaster.
Right. And the Roar, too, of UK.
Yep, I have subscribed to Lions Roar of the UK. I comment on there.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Anthony's from that, too. I know he used to be on Free for All Fridays when we were...
It's getting harder because that's so early in the day here, which is late at night for him there. And he's still on there occasionally, but not as much as he used to be. I've caught a couple of his shows and I've commented on there. He laughs at some of my comments because, I tend to do that little smart aleck thing I do when I'm commenting.
I know they invited me to be on their show, but it was like I would have been driving to work at the time I was invited to be on their show.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, damn. Yeah.
And yes, I still do it, and that is why I'm Smoking Jeremy B, and I do it on my podcast. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're in the comfort of your own home, no one should be able to tell you not to do it.
Right. Right. I know at our job.
That makes sense.
Yeah, at our job, they ain't. I mean, people do it, but they ain't supposed to even smoke in their cars at our job. Yeah, one smoking area, and that's well, I guess there's 2 where we work where you can smoke.
Like one at each end of the shop type thing?
Yeah. Well, there's one outside of the maintenance, because maintenance, man. There's a maintenance shop, one back there, and then there's one right at the front of the building, but towards the side.
I had a Dolphins fan try to tell me they were going to win by double digits, and I told him that wasn't going to happen. I said, we've got too many of our playmakers back in that game. And it showed in the first half. My thing is, and I wrote about it in my article for the post-game review, I don't understand how you have 72 yards rushing at the end of the half and end up with 82 yards for the game.
Really?
That sounds like a Jim Caldwell ran offense to me. And it bugs me.
Yep.
Because that's what we always griped about with Jim Caldwell. Get a lead in the first half. Go away from what was working in the second half and end up either losing the game or having to come from behind. That was our biggest gripe during the Caldwell era, was it not?
Yep, and you
poor
could
play
just
clock management, not knowing when to do reviews.
So is this Dan Caldwell? No.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like it. I hate saying it. I hate saying it because I do think motivational wise, he's the right coach for the Lions. But the X's and O's things is coming back to haunt him.
Right. And I think that's what because I think that's what Glenn Dreiser 12 said, and because he was on, he was with the Dolphins for a while too.
And yeah,
Okay.
that was very close.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But I did correctly pick. I said there would be 45 points scored in the Bengals and Browns game for a tiebreaker, and I don't know how I did in that yet because I haven't looked at how I did in my pick'ems. I think I only lost 5 games out of 14, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is.
I used reverse psychology this week. I didn't pick the Lions. I picked Miami, hoping they would lose because I've been picking the Lions and they've been losing.
Yeah. Well, I
Bit
did.
me in the ass, but it helped me in my pick'ems.
I did that with last week with the Cowboys. I tried to pick the Cowboys and to win, hoping that I'd give the bad luck to the Cowboys, and it didn't work. It did not work.
That being said, so do you think the way it started out when it was 27 to 17?
Mm-hmm.
It looked like the Lions had a good chance of winning.
Right. But of course, it was, one of the reasons one of the reasons they took that lead though was because they capitalized on that fumble and got.
Kudos to Kirby Joseph.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row he forced a fumble.
Mm-hmm.
And both times, who was there to pick it up? Rodrigo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Rodrigo and then Rodrigo had the sack.
He's by far looking like he could end up becoming a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
right now, I think I got it. For me, I've got Sauce, Hutch, Tariq Woolen of the Seahawks,
right,
Devin Lloyd, and Rodrigo. That's my top 5 for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I'm not trying to be a homer about Rodrigo. He's just way by far playing above his draft pick.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And I did say he might do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually wrote an in-depth player profile of him on that Motor City Tribune because I didn't know when he was in high school, not only was he their starting safety, but he was their starting quarterback on an Ironman football team.
Wow.
And he threw for over 6,000 yards 3 years as a starter and rushed for 2,499 and had 115 total touchdowns in 3 years.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he was one of those diamonds in the rough that, but they need more of them.
What's funny is that means we have a backup quarterback that's not a quarterback on the roster like Jack Fox.
Right. Yeah.
And Tom Kennedy.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know Herman Moore said something about drafting a quarterback then going to rest defense.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. At the top of that, if we have the number 1 pick, the guy I want, the guy I want is Will Anderson.
Okay.
Granted, he's not having the year he's had, but his production overall throughout his career is even better than Hutch's at Michigan. And can you imagine if you have Hutch at one outside linebacker spot and Will Anderson Jr. at the other?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I kind of like that idea.
Yep. Okay.
Because then you could have Pascal, McNeil, Kaminsky / Bugs, and then whoever fills in Michael Brocker's slot, because as far as I'm concerned, he could be thrown into a trash can. Healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row, and both weeks the defense looked better without him.
Yeah. Why didn't they go ahead and put Brockers in that deal with
They did,
Minnesota?
but nobody would even offer a snack-sized can of Pringles.
Yeah.
He was on the trade block.
Right. Okay, so Grandizer 12 says Kirby Josephs, I seen in an interview with last year via
an
Eagles
Eagles
podcast
podcast.
that Kirby always seems to be around the ball in either creating turnovers and getting turnovers.
Yes, he does.
Yep. All right, and Will Anderson, defensive end, Georgia.
Yep, defensive end / outside linebacker at Georgia because they do run a 3-4 in certain packages.
With Josh
Pascal on the D line, you put Will Anderson at the opposite because he's about that same size as Hutchinson. So you make him the outside linebacker opposite Hutchinson.
Yeah.
And have Charles Harris come back healthy and play the interior O-line or D-line at the defensive end position with Pascal, Aleem, and Comiskey.
Right.
I kind of like that.
What do you think Hutch needs to do to get better? Or how can he play better?
Well, they are putting him more at the 2-point stance, and he has a way better PFF grade before of it. They need him to stay there. But in order for him to be effective, the D-line has to be getting interior pressure.
Right.
We didn't see that last week. Comiskey didn't play a lot.
Right. Now,
and that bothered me.
Yeah. One of my friends at work said that he thinks that if Hutch would, because this is the first time he actually seen the Lions came all through, and he said that he was concentrating on Hutch, and he says he seems to be getting the offensive lineman seems to be getting him locked up real quick. If he would use the speed sooner, rather, go ahead, fake him out sooner rather than getting locked up, that he thinks he would be more effective.
Well, like I said, he was more effective when Comiskey was getting the pressure from the interior.
Right. Right.
When Comiskey gets the pressure from the interior, Hutch is freed up, and he is able to utilize that speed. When that's not happening, then people are able to go one-on-one directly with him.
Right.
Because we've seen when Comiskey played well against Washington, Hutch wasn't stopped that first half.
Right, right.
Grandizer, they shouldn't have switched from a 3-4 to the 4-2-5 this year. They should have stuck with the 3-4. We have 70% of that 3-4 roster on our roster. Switching the defensive scheme, I think, is the biggest problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
of a 4-2-5 defense. A 4-2-5 defense requires great safeties and great middle linebackers.
Right.
And not just one, but both middle linebackers have to be great. And not just one safety in the backfield, both of them have to be great. That's why the only successful ones over the years has been the Steelers and the Bills. And this year, the Steelers hasn't been that successful because they were missing T.J. Watt. Devin Bush isn't playing as good, or is it Devin White? Which one is it? Yeah, they got Bush. Devin Bush hasn't been playing as well as he should. Devin White is the one that went to the Bucks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure I had that right. Because they were both undersized middle linebackers. They were both in the same build.
Okay, let's see. Jeremy, if you had an extra set of glasses, can Tim buy?
I have about 6 pairs of them because I have a pair in my laptop bag. I have a pair in my headset bag. And I have 3 or 4 here floating around in the car. And I think I have a 7th pair at work.
Okay. Well,
if Tim was next door to me, he could borrow a set of glasses. Absolutely.
I got a set of glasses in my car.
Yeah, I know. You said that.
Yeah, I know.
He's being funny anyways. He added the
I know he
hee.
is. I know he was. But I do got a magnifying glass here.
This week, on Thursday, I'm actually starting my college playoff outlook. I'm going to choose a random player to do a draft profile on. And then we're going to talk about the college playoff outlook. I'm going to start doing that on Thursdays.
Okay.
And I'm also supposed to start doing a show on Sports Empire Network on Saturdays, doing the same thing, plus doing my Lions pregame show on there. I'm going to spend a half hour talking college football and then a half hour talking Lions pregame. On Thursday nights, late, after the Thursday night football game, I'm part of a post-game show on Let's Talk Sports Network.
All right, yeah.
So I have a full and complete schedule. Hey, look, he's got a pair of glasses on, Grandizer.
Well, I
can't say he'll see anything. Tim has sunglasses. Are they prescription?
No, they're not. They're not. One other time he was teasing me about sunglasses, and I had him right sitting there. This, and they actually say Lions on the side.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, got them from the one time me and Jim had went to training camp. Yeah.
So it was funny. My dad posted on my post-game show last night because remember I took him to the Seahawks game.
Yep.
And the first 10,000 fans through the door got an Amon-Ra St. Brown bobblehead. He goes, 10,000 Amon-Ra St. Brown bobbleheads, and I had to get the broken one.
Oh, geez. Okay, so I posted in all caps and PPL.
And people said, why are you shouting at Tim, LOL?
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. So you don't got to work in the morning?
Yeah, I do, but I just wasn't able to sleep, and I was sitting here watching you, and I was like, hell, send me the link. I'll talk Lions football anytime, any day of the week if I'm awake.
I know that last time you said you would come up, but by the time I got home, you were in bed.
Yeah, I did fall asleep that night.
Yeah.
That was another one of those nights where you worked late, wasn't it?
Yeah, I worked late. Then I went ahead and I did
so my hot players last week, if you wanted to know.
All right.
I usually post my shows that I'm going live first thing in the morning. The day of, I'm getting ready to set up my one for tonight, for tomorrow. And I'm also going to set up the one for my college one tomorrow, too, because I just want to get it done and have my topics in there.
Right.
Mostly what we're going to be talking about on the NFL Roundtable Talk is all the trades, because this was the busiest trade deadline I've seen in years.
Yeah. So the Packers didn't pick up anybody, did they?
Nope. But the Bears picked up Chase Claypool.
Wow.
I hope the change of scenery makes Claypool play like the guy he wants to be. Because he said in the offseason he was a top 5 wide receiver. And I was going to say, only if you're talking from the bottom up. And I had a Steeler fan get mad at me, and then he goes, yeah, you're right, he drops too many goddamn passes.
He would have fit right in with the Lions.
Oh, yeah, he could have been lined up right next to Ebum or Hawkinson. Yep. It would have been right at home.
Yep. Oh, shoot.
So my Grandizer, just so you know, if you want to write it down, my shows are Monday night at 9:30, Wednesday night at 8, Thursday night at 9, and Friday night at 9. There's your reminder.
Yep. And actually, he can always relook at this show, if he forgets.
I'm also going to be doing the whole draft coverage thing again, like I did this past year.
Yeah, I gotta make sure I take those days off from work because I worked every day of the draft last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I get at least one of those days, if not all of them off, because hopefully, Sideline Sports is talking about picking up my show as their Lions featured podcast.
Okay. Wow.
Because they don't have a Lions featured one. And if they do, I get a good chance at getting press credentials.
Wow.
I get press credentials. I will be definitely at the draft 2024 in Detroit. But I'm going to try to be at the combine then if I have press credentials. Because then everything I do is a tax write-off.
Right.
Get myself a special credit card that's just for my stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, I probably should go to bed because I got to be to work at 7 hours.
Oh, once again, we want to thank you. And anybody who's listening, we really want to thank Jeremy B. Kneecap Biting. Make sure you guys check out his channels, subscribe to it. Exactly where can...
you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on my Facebook page, which is Motor City Kneecap Biters.
Yep. And
like tomorrow's the NFL Roundtable Talk, so instead of posting it to my profile, I'm going to be posting it to an NFL group that I belong to.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I did the 22 draft all on my own. But because of limited video storage, a couple of months later, I had to delete everything to make room for new shows. Because that's why the older shows start to disappear.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, in the off season, I said 100 times, I think the Lions could be a 7 to 10 win team if they stayed healthy. We haven't seen healthy yet.
Yeah.
We will. You realize it has now been 20. We have had 26 straight games without all starting 5 offensive linemen on our O-line.
Damn.
26.
Yeah.
And counting.
Yeah. But shoot, yeah, but it's real good to have you on here, Jeremy. And I
appreciate being on, and I appreciate the invite. I know you always go on late, and I was up this time, so I said, shoot, send me the link, Tim.
Yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time getting up early.
I have no idea why.
Yeah. Probably because I'm always up this late. And then yesterday I didn't get to bed until like after 3 a.m, and then I had to get back up for the dentist appointment. So it's like, oh well.
Grandizer, it was a pleasure speaking to you. To everybody watching, I'm going to tell you all the same thing that I always say. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because it's the only way to make the world a better place.
Yeah. And Tim said 11 wins. Yeah, I think I did say that.
You did.
Yeah,
you even said it on my show in the off season.
And actually, and I know I said a lot of time 10 or better. I know that was one of my big things. Then reality hit.
And I said all along, we won 3.5 games last year because a win is a half a game in Vegas.
Yeah.
Since we were twice as talented on the starters, 7 should be the floor.
Right.
My floor changed because we're not healthy.
No.
I see us as a 3 to 5 win team, and I'm hoping for the 5.
Yeah. And that's reality now. I mean, I thought
because Jaguars are nowhere near as bad as everybody expected them to be.
right.
The Giants and the Jets actually look really good.
Oh yeah, that's for dang sure. Yeah.
The Bengals don't look that good.
Mm.
The Steelers
Yeah.
don't look that good. The Seahawks look fantastic. Where the hell did that come from Geno Smith?
Right.
Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, we're going to see the start of the Kingsbury flop. It started this week.
Yep. Now, I remember before the Seahawks game, everybody in lines and they're proud they were, we're going to beat the Seahawks, no problem. And I did mention that last season, of course, they had Russell Wilson. I did mention on that show that last season they went ahead and kicked our ass pretty good.
Well, they didn't really kick our ass like last year. We ran toe-to-toe with them.
Right.
But it cost us.
Mm-hmm.
It cost us trying to go toe-to-toe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and Sheila Hamp has already said, yes, it's frustrating with the record, but you know what? It is what it is. We have the right guys going forward. So that means they're back next year.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what any fans think.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell next year. Who we won't see, one is already gone, which I don't necessarily agree or disagree with it, is Aaron Glenn.
Right.
I mean, Aubrey Pleasant.
Yeah, Aubrey Pleasant.
He was fired.
Mm-hmm.
My take on it is he was the defensive passing game coordinator, and what are we 32nd in? Defending the pass.
Right. Yeah.
So if he's the defensive passing coordinator, that means it is his responsibility to make sure everybody's following their assignments, including the secondary as well as the linebackers. And none of them have been doing it.
Yeah.
Other than Jeff Okudah.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, they're all lacking something, though.
Yeah, they're lacking Tracy Walker.
Yeah.
Ever since Tracy Walker went out, this defense has not looked the same.
No, that's true. That's true.
And with Deshaun Elliott being missing the last couple weeks due to injury, that's hurt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because you can't lose both, because Deshaun Elliott is a lot like Walker. He's not the best in coverage, but he's great in tackling. Mm-hmm. So losing him when Walker's already out, you have nobody to really fill in that shoe. Kudos to Juju Hughes for getting a sack, but that was actually a coverage sack. That was one of the few times that Tua had to hold the ball for more than 3 seconds.
Right.
And Hutch was held at least on 4 different occasions when he would have had Tua dead to rights.
Oh, yeah.
2 of them were very egregious in the first half, where he was like, come on, where's the flag?
But you got to understand, when the refs don't see it when the Lions are being held. I don't care what team it is. But
they always see it when we do it.
Oh, yeah. And that was one thing that Jim was really, really, he didn't. It wasn't only the bad calls; it was the non-calls. Yeah, that would.
Oh, and I've only heard it 4 times, and 2 of the times have been with Detroit, where a picked up flag happens, and they say there's no flag for pass interference.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It happened once in a Bears Green Bay game a couple of years ago. It happened, of course, in the Dallas game versus Detroit in the wild card, and then it happened again versus who? Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And that wild card game, not only did that happen, but remember one of the Dallas players,
Dez Bryant,
with
Dez Bryant, with his helmet off, which is supposed to be an automatic 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
But that being said, I salute you, Tim. Thank you for having me on.
Yep.
And have a great evening, bud.
Yep. You too. Yep. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bye-bye, bud.
Bye. Thanks again. All right. Okay. Well, one roar. Oh God, that was sorry. That was sorry. All right, but thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for the interaction. I appreciate it. Definitely thank you, Grandizer 12. Thank you, Jeremy B. For something, and I do feel a lot better about the trade now than I did before. And like I said, we definitely got to see what we get in the draft and who we get. But this is Maniac Tim from Maniac Sports. I am going to say good night, and I'm going to say go Lions. That was bad. All right, you guys all have a good night. I need some sleep.